Luke Bryan brings his farm tour to Michigan. There's growing demand for specialty soybeans in Japan, and Michigan producers are answering the call. I'm Janelle Brose, and this is Farm News 5.
Farm News 5 is brought to you by Ford.
A mid-Michigan soybean farmer and Citizens Elevator are working together to meet a rising demand in the Japanese food market. Charlotte farmer and Michigan Soybean Association board member Gary Parr is growing natto soybeans, a specialty type of sprouting food-grade soybean. The beans will be exported to Japan and then fermented for human consumption.
This field and across the lane there is 200 acres of natto soybeans, which are a very small specialty food-grade soybean that there is kind of an emerging market in Japan for. So Citizens Elevator in Charlotte is trying to get a natto program up and running. Anybody that has natto seed stock tends to hang on to it. There's natto grown in the Dakotas and some in Canada, but Citizens has worked with MSU to kind of develop a natto variety, and these will all be sprouting beans for the food grade market in Japan probably. The biggest thing with natto is they're a non-GMO conventional beans, so weed control is a challenge. You generally depend on a lot of your weed control chemistry put on up front, meaning ahead of the crop, and then hope that it gets into the soil profile and is activated. This year has been a challenge for that because it got very dry after the incredibly wet spring and kind of mud the beans in. We put our herbicide program down and it went dry, and so we didn't get a lot of soil activity. So we've kind of been chasing problem weeds ever since. A lot of flowers down in here. You can see they're flowered up pretty good, so they're at probably an R2, which R3 is as soon as we get one pod, a quarter 3/8 inch long, that would be R3. They're moving along fairly good considering the plant date. These beans were planted June 28th, so they've been in about 6 weeks. That's one nice thing about beans is they will kind of sense the days shortening and kind of speed themselves up. R30 or above, which is probably our farm average is about 45. 30 or above, I would say I'd be very happy with given all the circumstances we've dealt with.
If you want a car from a company that's been building them for 115 years, get a Ford. If you want a car with driver assist technology, get a Ford. You're gonna want a Ford.
In less than a month, one Kalamazoo County hayfield will be turned into a concert venue for 20,000 Luke Bryan-loving fans. In its 11th year, Bryan is bringing his farm tour to Stafford Farms in Richland, Michigan on September 27th.
I think it's awesome that he showcases farming in general. You know, farming is not an easy profession. There's a lot of professions that aren't easy by all means, but certainly this year has been a challenge for lots of farmers, and I think that the fact that he goes around the country and highlights some of those farmers that are, you know, working the fields and doing whatever they can, I think it's just an awesome opportunity to be a part of it. We're very honored that he's going to be here at our farm this year. I think the concert in and of itself for ag, I think just raises awareness for the fact that, you know, farming is pretty diverse. You can do a variety of things with farming, and I think the case in point is here is that you have this bare farm field, a hay field that, you know, has been actively farmed all year long, and then in one day's time we can turn it into an event that will have 20,000 people enjoying a nice evening with food and family and friends with a great performer. So in that sense, you really couldn't ask for anything better than that.
Helping farmers manage soybean harvest losses and boost profitability is the purpose of the upcoming Soybean Harvest Equipment Field Day. The meeting will be held Tuesday, September 24th in Burlington, Michigan, and will include demonstrations on draper heads, air-assisted reels, harvest loss measurements, and farm truck regulations and safety. Contact the Allegan County MSU Extension Office to register for the free meeting. Next month, Michigan dry bean producers will have the opportunity to vote on the continuation of the Michigan Dry Bean Commission in a referendum conducted by the Michigan Department of Agriculture and Rural Development. The commission is tasked with helping improve the economic position of the state's dry bean producers. Producers are eligible to vote if they produced dry beans for sale in any one of the last 3 years. Voting will begin on September 16th, and ballots must be submitted by the 27th.
If you owe or are owed, please don't overlook legal counsel when addressing agribusiness collection challenges. Each situation is unique. Visit fosterswift.com for more information.
Michigan farmers wanting to maintain access to glyphosate are urged to submit comments to the Environmental Protection Agency. The EPA is accepting public comments on the interim registration review, which is a summary of the EPA's findings and responses to public comments following an initial report that assessed ecological and human health risks and benefits of the use of glyphosate. Comments will be accepted from now until September 3rd. And now with a look at the latest market activity, here is Michigan Ag Commodities' Chris Betts.
Thanks, Janelle. Seasonally lower trends are running their course, as extended forecasts are largely non-threatening as we enter September. The belt will see warmer temps along with rain over the coming weeks, which will be good for late developing crops. In addition to improving conditions for crop development, corn has had to contend with funds turning short following the USDA's much higher than anticipated production estimates for this fall, as well as big question marks for ethanol demand moving forward. Still, corn has managed to hold support at contract lows thus far. Like corn, soybeans have been weighed by improving conditions, but trade negotiations with China are the story here. Tariff escalations on both sides have pressured commodities as well as equity markets. The rhetoric has been more collaborative this week as negotiations are expected to resume with a September meeting, but we have seen this story before. For more market information, go to michag.com. With Michigan Agricultural Commodities, I'm Chris Betts.
For more news and video, visit MichiganFarmNews.com and the Michigan Farm Bureau channel on YouTube. With Farm News 5, I'm Janelle Brose. Have a great week of farming.